Four friends enter a garage, seemingly working on a machine designed to counteract the effects of gravity. However, they are uncertain about its exact function. The scene then shifts to the group sitting at a table, packing envelopes. They argue among themselves, frustrated that none of their patents have been even remotely profitable. In need of palladium for their machine, they extract it from the catalytic converters of cars. Over the next few days, they continue working on the machine. Eventually, two of them, Aaron and Abe, begin testing it in secret, without informing the other two. After setting everything up and carefully reviewing their work, they turn the machine on. The machine behaves strangely before shutting off on its own. Aaron, surprised, remarks that he didn't do anything. The scene then shifts to Abe, who appears to be passed out on the floor. Moments later, he receives a call from Aaron, asking him to meet him outside. As they talk, they argue over whether to get steak or tacos, with Abe insisting that he can't afford steak. Aaron, however, changes the subject, telling Abe that the machine is stable. Aaron demonstrates to Abe that the machine is generating more voltage than they are supplying. Skeptical, Abe suggests that it's likely due to the cheap batteries they are using. To prove his point, Aaron disconnects both batteries, yet the machine continues running. Observing this, Aaron notes that the machine gradually winds down after a few minutes. Realizing the significance of their discovery, they agree to keep it a secret from the other two. They throw a few parties to impress Abe's girlfriend Rachel's father, Thomas, hoping to secure funding from him. Despite their efforts, they remain tight-lipped about the machine, wary of being exploited since they still don't fully understand its purpose. Months go by, yet they remain uncertain about what the machine actually does. One day, while Aaron is sitting in a park, Abe approaches him. Abe asks Aaron to skip work that afternoon to help him with a few small tasks. In return, he promises to show him the most fascinating thing he has ever seen. Abe then presents a mustard packet covered in fungus. He explains that the amount of fungus present would typically take about a month to grow in a lab, or around 6 years to develop naturally, the same amount he has been wiping off every 5 days. They place a watch inside the machine for a minute, and when they take it out, they discover it has advanced by 1,347 minutes. Abe explains that the machine has 2 points in time, an A end and a B end, separated by 1 minute. When an object enters from one end, it continuously loops between the 2 points approximately 1,300 times before eventually exiting from the same end it entered. Abe theorizes that if a conscious being were to enter the machine, they could step in through the B end and emerge from the A end, effectively traveling backward in time. Intrigued by the possibilities, they decide to construct a larger version of the machine, one big enough for a person to fit inside. Realizing they need a secure location to store it, Abe takes Aaron to a storage unit facility. There, to Aaron's shock, he sees another version of Abe entering the facility. Abe shows Aaron that he has already built the machine. That night, Aaron is unable to sleep. The next morning, he tells Abe that he wants to replicate everything Abe did when he first used the machine. Abe instructs him to call in sick and drive to the storage facility. He tells Aaron to park his car down the road, out of sight, and set a timer for 15 minutes to turn on the machine. Then, Abe drives to Russell Field. Aaron asks Abe about the purpose of the timer. Abe explains that the moment the machine is turned on is the same moment they will exit it. To avoid interfering with causality, they rent a hotel room and isolate themselves completely. To pass the time, they play games together. After some time, they pick up oxygen tanks and check which stock had the highest gain that day. They go to the storage room, turn the machines off, and enter them just before they fully shut down. After spending 6 hours inside, they exit and find themselves back in the morning of the same day. They immediately proceed to buy stocks to make a profit and discuss reinvesting to gain even more. Later, at home, they talk with their wives about what they would do if they had $400 billion. Aaron remarks that he would ram his fist through the flat of his boss's nose. Abe, surprised, asks where this is coming from since Aaron is usually the one defending his boss. Aaron clarifies that he would only do it if he could go back in time and stop himself, just to experience what it feels like. Later, Abe tells him that he cannot do that. Meanwhile, Aaron's wife complains about rats in the attic. Aaron insists they are birds, but his wife argues that they don't sound like birds. Aaron wants to tell his wife about the machine, but Abe strongly disagrees. Aaron also suggests that they need to build a bigger machine to accommodate more people, as the current one feels like a coffin. Abe, on the other hand, wants to inform their other two friends about the machine, but this time, Aaron is the one who disagrees. The next day, they exit the machine and go about their day. Aaron notices blood on Abe, while Abe spots blood on Aaron's notebook. Aaron realizes he's bleeding from his ear. Their two other friends enter the garage. where Abe is already present. Abe tells them the garage needs spraying. One of the friends responds, "Couldn't the hero have given us a heads up?" Confused, Abe asks why they called him a hero. They explain that Aaron stopped Rachel's ex-boyfriend, who had entered with a shotgun. Abe, furious, reprimands Aaron for recklessly endangering himself, despite having a wife and child. The next day, they isolate themselves in a hotel room when Aaron's phone suddenly starts ringing. Abe grows frustrated, reminding Aaron that they're supposed to be completely cut off from the outside world. Aaron asks Abe if he can check the caller ID. It's Aaron's wife asking about dinner. Abe warns him not to take the phone back in time. Later, they both enter and exit the machine. Watching a game they likely placed bets on it, they decide to go eat. But on the way, Aaron's phone starts ringing. Realizing his mistake, he apologizes to Abe, admitting he forgot the phone was in his pocket. It's the same phone call from earlier. Abe asks Aaron if he's feeling okay, and they both confirm they feel fine. Later that night, a kid is seen setting off car alarms. Abe wakes Aaron and suggests an experiment to play around with a paradox. They go to Aaron's boss's house, punch him, and then travel back in time to scare off the kid, ensuring their doubles sleep through the night and never have this conversation. On their way to the machine, they notice Rachel's father, Thomas, sitting in his car outside Aaron's house, seemingly following them. Aaron mentions that he saw Thomas earlier that afternoon, clean-shaven, but now he appears to have 2 or 3 days' worth of stubble. To confirm their suspicion, Abe calls Rachel's phone and speaks with Thomas, proving that the Thomas in the car is from the future. Aaron gets out of the car and chases after Thomas. They find him collapsed on the floor, unconscious. Suspecting that he used one of the machines to travel back in time, Abe questions Aaron about whether he intended to talk to Thomas about the machines. Aaron denies it and turns the question back on Abe, noting that every time Abe gets near Thomas, he passes out. Even when separated by 2 rooms, Thomas remains in a vegetative state. It is then revealed that Abe had secretly kept a fail-safe machine running for 4 days. He plans to use it to travel back in time and prevent the time machine from ever being invented, restoring everything to normal. Abe goes back 4 days and drugs his original self. The scene then shifts to Aaron sitting in a park, the same moment from the beginning of the movie. They have the same conversation as before, except this time Abe says, "I'm tired," while Aaron continues as if nothing has changed, repeating their previous dialogue. Abe collapses to the ground. It is then revealed that Aaron has been listening to their past conversations through his earpiece. A voiceover explains that at this point, they would typically have a discussion. Abe would demand to know how Aaron could explain the storage manifest and why there are 2 storage units listed under Abe's name. When Aaron goes up to the storage unit, he finds the failsafe still running. Due to the machine's modular design, he is able to fold one up and place it inside the other, effectively giving himself an extra machine for time travel. After traveling back in time, Aaron drugs his original self and locks him in the attic, implying that his wife's earlier complaints were never about rats. Aaron from the failsafe uses the extra machine to travel back to the start of the day. When Aaron from the extra machine attempts to subdue him, he is too exhausted from repeated time travel and fails. Instead, the 2 versions of Aaron begin talking. Aaron from the extra machine has already lived through the day and recorded its events, exactly what Aaron from the failsafe had intended to do. Realizing this, Aaron from the failsafe departs. After explaining the situation to Abe, he hands him a recording to listen to while he engages in a conversation through the recording. During this exchange, Aaron reveals that he was the one who invited Rachel's ex-boyfriend to the party. He insists that Abe must step in to protect Rachel, but Abe is reluctant. Aaron explains that her ex-boyfriend is unstable, and they need to intervene to ensure Rachel's safety. Abe agrees. He also notices that they can no longer write the way they used to, possibly a side effect of repeated time travel. It is implied that they have attempted this scenario multiple times, refining their actions with each loop until they achieve the perfect outcome. This is not merely their second attempt. They have systematically corrected every mistake from previous iterations. Finally, they remove the bullets from the shotgun. The gunman enters, but Abe successfully saves his girlfriend. Later, Aaron and Abe have a conversation at the airport. Aaron urges Abe to leave the country, explaining that he plans to steal passports from their original selves. However, Abe refuses to go. He argues that their original selves will inevitably continue building the machines, implying that he intends to sabotage their efforts. Abe intends to sabotage the machine to prevent their original selves from ever building it. He warns Aaron never to return. The movie concludes with Aaron working alongside French-speaking workers to construct a massive machine, the size of a warehouse. It remains unclear whether this Aaron is the one from the failsafe or the one from the extra machine. Please like and subscribe the channel for more videos like these.